The wind howls like a grieving spirit through the ancient Hijaz mountains, carrying with it the dust of empires and the whispered secrets of millennia. There, in a valley scorched by the sun and scarred by time, stands a structure unlike any other on earth. It is not a palace of kings, nor a monument to conquerors. It is the Kaaba, the black cube of Mecca. For over 4,000 years, it has been the silent, immutable heart of a faith, drawing millions to its presence. But why? Why was this colossus of mystery and devotion built here in this desolate mountainous embrace? Not on fertile plains, not by life-giving rivers, but here, where the very stones seem to echo with the weight of the divine. The answer lies not in the logic of men, but in a story etched in fire, faith, and the terrifying, beautiful will of the Almighty. A story that begins not with mortals, but with beings of light. Long before the first tribes of Arabia wandered these sands, before the pyramids pierced the Egyptian sky, the command echoed through the celestial realms. The angels, led by the mighty Gibril, were ordered to descend, not with swords, but with stone and purpose. They raised the first Kaaba upon this very spot, a sanctuary in the wilderness, a beacon for all souls, yet unborn. It was a house of absolute peace, a reflection of the celestial Beit-el-Mor hovering above the seventh heaven. But time, that relentless devourer of all things, began its slow corrosion. The great flood of Nuh, a cataclysm that erased civilizations, surged over the earth. The angels, in an act of divine preservation, lifted the Kaaba back to the heavens, leaving only its foundation, a haunting, empty mound upon the mountain. Ibrahim, the friend of God, heard the call resonate not in his ears, but in the deepest chamber of his heart. "Build for me a house," came the command, "and purify it for those who will walk around it, those who will stand, bow, and prostrate in prayer." But where? Where on this vast and different earth? The choice was not left to mortal doubt. Each stone carried the weight of the mountain's ancient vigil. As the walls rose, a problem arose. Where to place the sacred black stone, the higher Aswat, sent from paradise itself, whiter than milk, until the sins of man stained it black. Ismail searched in vain. Then, a voice called from Mount Abu Qubis. It was the stone itself, declaring itself a trust. Ibrahim placed it, cool and heavy with prophecy, into the eastern wall, and as the walls grew higher, a miracle unfolded. The stone Ismail stood upon, two past stones to his father, began to rise with the walls, bearing Ibrahim's footprints, footprints that remain miraculously preserved to this very day. But this sanctuary, forged in faith and miracle, was built not for comfort, but for confrontation. For Allah declared, "I am going to make you an imam for the people," and this house, in its mountainous isolation, would stand as an eternal. It's an undeniable testament to the one true God, a testament written in stone against the idolatry that would darken the age, a testament that would one day force even the mighty Quraysh to reckon with its power. In complex morality, only halal wealth, purified from any taint of usury, gambling, or exploitation, could be used. Yet even with their riches, their piety faltered. The funds proved insufficient to restore the full original dimensions decreed by Allah through Ibrahim. So they made a fateful decision. They reduced the size. They built the walls closer, enclosing the area that became known as Higher Ismail, not part of the Kaaba proper, but a crescent moon arc of sacred emptiness, forever mourning its lost wholeness. They raised the door high, controlling who could enter this diminished house of God, and they placed a roof upon it for the first time. It was a reconstruction born of compromise, a shadow of the divine ideal. But Allah had a plan. He would send a man who walked these very streets, a man known even then as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, to ensure this house remained a true sanctuary. And the stage was set for a moment where a single, sacred stone nearly plunged the city into a river of blood. The Kaaba's story is a tapestry woven with threads of the miraculous and the terrifying, a chronicle of how the divine and the human constantly collide and intertwine on this hallowed ground. It's a history that reveals not just the strength of faith, but the fragility of peace when human ambition threatens the sacred. If you feel the weight of this history, if the mystery of the Kaaba's endurance in the face of time, disaster, and war stirs something in your soul, then you understand why preserving this knowledge is vital. Subscribe now, hit that bell. Join us as we continue to unveil the profound, often harrowing saga of this eternal sanctuary. Because understanding the past, especially a past this charged with the divine, helps us navigate the present with reverence and awe. The crisis erupted over the Black Stone itself. During the Quraysh reconstruction, when the walls reached the height where the Hajar Aswad belonged, every clan in Mecca laid claim to the supreme honor of placing it. Tempers flared, swords were drawn. The air crackled with the promise of slaughter, a civil war brewing over a stone that had fallen from paradise. Desperation turned to reason. They agreed that the first man to enter the harem the next morning would decide. The first man to walk through the gate was none other than Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the future prophet, though not yet revealed. Quraysh sighed in relief. They knew Quraysh side integrity was unshakable. Muhammad PBUH ordered a cloak. Each clan elder grasped a corner. Together, they carried the Black Stone to its place of honor. Then, with his own blessed hands, the prophet fixed it into the wall. The crisis dissolved like smoke. The Kaaba was completed, but it stood as a symbol of both piety and profound compromise, a house temporarily diminished, awaiting a time when its full, divine dimensions might be restored. That restoration would come, but only through fire, siege, and immense sacrifice. Decades later, the Kaaba faced annihilation. In 683 AD, the tyrannical Umayyad general, Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, besieged Mecca. His catapults, instruments of death, hammered the holy city without mercy. Stones rained down like deadly hail. The Kaaba, that ancient sanctuary, suffered catastrophic damage. Its walls cracked and crumbled. After the siege, the Umayyad Caliph, seeking to erase the legacy of his enemy, Ibn al-Zubayr, who had ruled from Mecca, ordered a drastic alteration. Hajjaj tore down the northern and western walls. He raised the eastern door even higher. He further reduced the size, enclosing less of the sacred precincts. He sought to stamp his authority onto the very stones of the Kaaba, but Allah's decree is supreme. Years later, remorse filled the caliph's heart. He learned that the Kaaba's form under Ibn al-Zubayr had actually been the one desired by the Prophet Muhammad P.B. himself, a restoration of Ibrahim's original, larger dimensions recounted by Ishara. The caliph considered rebuilding it, but the great scholar Imam Malik Ra wisely cautioned him. If they rebuilt it now, he argued, every future ruler would seek to reshape it according to their own will, turning the sacred house into a political pawn. So the diminished Kaaba, scarred by Hajjaj's hatred, remained. The shadows of that siege, the thunder of the catapults, the screams of the dying still seemed to cling to the stones. A chilling reminder of how close this beacon of peace came to utter ruin. Yet the Kaaba endures. In 1039 AD, a great flood, a torrent of divine judgment, surged through the Mecca Valley. The waters smashed against the ancient walls. The western wall collapsed. The eastern wall buckled. The Kaaba seemed to groan under the assault. This time salvation came from the mighty Ottoman Caliph, Sultan Murad Khan. He ordered a complete reconstruction. The damaged sections were torn down. New stones were quarried. The Kaaba was rebuilt with meticulous care, stronger than before. And this is essentially the structure we see today, a testament to resilience, forged in faith. But its outward appearance, the black kiswa that shrouds it in mystery, holds its own profound tale. For centuries, the Kaaba was covered in a riot of colors: white, red, green, even gold. It was only during the Abbasid period that the black covering, embroidered with gold verses, became standard, a symbol of profound dignity and the weight of history. The kiswa is changed with ritual precision, a sacred ceremony where the old covering, heavy with prayer and time, is carefully removed. Some are preserved in museums, others are gifted to Muslim nations, carrying the baraka of the Kaaba across the globe. To step inside the Kaaba today is to enter another world. The walls are clad in cool, intricate marble. Green silk drapes the ceiling, a symbol of paradise. It is a place of profound stillness, where the air itself feels thick with devotion. Only a select few ever enter this inner sanctum, a privilege granted just twice a year during special washings. And so, the Kaaba remains. It has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, has been damaged by flood, shaken by siege, and scarred by the ambition of men, yet it stands. Not as a ruin, but as a living, breathing heart. It is a symbol of the unshakable divine promise. For Allah declared it in the Quran, the first house established for mankind was that at Mecca, blessed and a guidance for the worlds. It is a place where prayers are multiplied 100,000-fold, where the mercy of Allah descends like gentle rain upon those who walk its precincts, where the angels themselves once trod. Why was it built in these ancient barren mountains? To stand as an eternal, undeniable testament, not to the power of men, but to the power, the majesty, and the enduring love of the one who commanded its creation. A testament written in stone against the tide of time, inviting every soul who gazes upon it to ponder the divine, to remember, to submit. This journey through the Kaaba's shadowed corridors, its moments of miraculous wonder and harrowing peril, leaves an indelible mark on the soul. It speaks of a divine presence that persists through every trial. We have walked with prophets, witnessed the clash of clans, and felt the breath of history on these stones. Now we ask you, what aspect of the Kaaba's incredible, often turbulent history resonates most deeply with you? Does the miracle of its construction stir your spirit, the courage of those who defended it, the profound mystery of its endurance? Share your reflections, your emotions, in the comments below. Let us continue this conversation at the foot of history's most sacred mountain.